We're recording.
Are we? Because you're still adjusting the camera, and so
Well, right, but I was doing
I
it
didn't
again, and so
know.
maybe you would like kick it off, like that sort of thing.
Oh, gotcha. Hi, this is me kicking it off. This is the Off the Cuff podcast show. Quite unprofessional and disheveled. I'm Justin DeWeese. That's my beautiful wife, Ashley DeWeese. She's got lashes going. She's got wet, sort of, kind of dry hair going. We're back from vacation. We're recharged and amped.
I mean, when you've decided that you need to kick ass, you gotta start early, so the lashes gotta go on.
So, no lashes means no ass kicking.
I can still kick ass without the lashes. It's just a different kind of
It's a more glamorous ass kicking.
intensity. I mean, I'm really serious.
Oh,
No
gotcha.
lashes, I'm serious.
Lashes.
Lashes, I'm
Serious,
really serious.
serious.
Yeah.
Got it.
And hot because it's effing hot in our house.
You are hot.
As if we, didn't experience enough hotness while we were on vacation.
Came home.
Before you divulge that, and if you follow us on the social media, at least if you follow me on the social media, you already know what we're about to share. But over the years, I've really been more intentional, just really within the last year or so, that when we leave for vacation, we kind of make sure the house isn't a complete and utter pigsty. So that, because there's nothing worse, well, maybe there is, as we're about to divulge, but it's a sucky feeling to come home from vacation and you walk in your house because let's be real, everybody likes to go on vacation and you kind of sort of hate to come home, but at the same time, typically
Sure.
you're
It's good to
also
be
like
home.
jonesing to
Good to
come
be
home.
back in your own bed.
But it sucks to come home to this place that you're like kind of glad to be in your comfort zone and you walk in and there's dishes everywhere, there's clothes all over the bed,
Right.
everything's a mess. And so you come home and you can't just like sink into that peacefulness of your own home. You have to like deal with all the shit. So, over about the last year, I've been more intentional about when we leave, just making sure that the house is quasi picked up and there's not shit
Squared
everywhere,
away.
so that when we come home, we don't have that feeling.
Sure.
So, I was looking forward to that this time, but this time we came home to no air.
To a non-functioning air conditioner. So I guess it'd just be called scrap metal at this point.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't condition the air at all.
But yet, the people that come to check it keep telling us there's nothing really wrong with it.
Well, that was the one guy, and so now we got a different guy coming today because it's 80 some odd degrees in this dang house, which is uncomfortable.
Well, and we live in Kansas. This is not a dry heat. This is like,
Right. It is very sticky and moist.
and let's be honest, it does not do anything for the mood.
No, it's very difficult. It really at any temperature extreme, it's difficult to be in your best like mindset.
Right. I liken it to, lifting weights at the gym and you're trying to lift like a mega heavy weight and your spouse or some random like person comes over and asks you like a really simple question that under normal terms or situations would not be that big of a deal, but in the moment you just all you want to do is that's kind of how I feel when I'm really hot with heat.
I was gonna say, because you're always really hot,
Oh,
just
thanks.
not always really hot with
Right.
heat.
Correct. When I'm hot with heat, like it's, yeah. So I'm working today to not, I said on my stories this morning, I was like, I'm really working to not be a raging bee. You might argue to the contrary, but I'll at least hopefully maybe be able to tone it down a little bit.
You know, there's a couple thoughts here. Number one, stuff never happens when you want it to happen, right? Especially adverse things. Like it would have been gravy had our air conditioner back in March when it was like 70 degrees been like, hey guys, just a heads up, I'm about to die. You might want to do something. Because then we would have had time to deal with it and whatnot, right? But that's life. Like things happen not when you want them to happen, but when they need to happen.
Well, the
That's
thing
for your
is,
character growth.
you would never choose for it to happen, right? Like there's so many things in your life. Like we say, like I would never choose to like, oh, let's have the air conditioner go out in April. Like no one would ever choose those not so ideal moments, right? And so the question becomes why why do we need these not so ideal moments, right? Because if left to our own devices, humans would never choose the hard thing
That's true.
or rarely choose the hard thing. If you were not like a self-aware person,
Right.
and we can get into that in a minute, but like if you were not a self-aware person or whatnot, like you, and even if you are, like it's not like there's humans that are like, it's natural to be like, I love doing the hard shit. I love going through tough times. Like most people would not actively choose that if they had the option not to and didn't have the kind of awareness of what
Right.
hard times can do for you. Like we wouldn't choose that.
For sure.
But what I have regularly shared over the years, given my life and the various levels of difficulty I've experienced at times, so many of those tough times, tough situations, whether they be, small or life changing, taught me such great lessons and helped to develop my strength of character
Right.
and the person that I am. So, on the flip side of, hey, we naturally would not choose the hard things because we want things to be easy, we want it to be smooth sailing. We romanticize that kind of life is the best kind of life. At the same time, when you look at the hard seasons you've been through, you recognize that without those things, you would not be who you are today.
Right.
And like I said, you wouldn't choose it, but yet we need it.
Right. Well, resistance creates strength, right? Like if you go to the gym,
Pressure creates diamonds.
yes, if you go to the gym and you only ever pick up the 5 pound dumbbells, you're not going to get stronger
Correct.
because you don't have that resistance. And so here we are today with the resistance of hotness in the house. And I will say that, you know, to your point earlier about trying not to be a raging bee, here's a pro marriage tip for everybody. Like recognize, learn your partner's patterns, right? Because I could tell from the get-go this morning that she was going to fight being a raging bee all day. So I just give her some distance, right? Today would be a terrible day for me to be fully me in her presence. That would go really poorly, would it not, my love?
It would go really poorly for
Right.
you, yes.
So I step away.
Well, at the same time, though, that's not always a good thing too, either.
Well,
Like
of course.
sometimes you create distance because you think you need to create distance, but then that just actually creates more distance. Because I'm like, why are you being so standoffish? I mean,
Which,
I would argue,
which is an amusing question.
I would argue that there are things you need to stay away from on these days, but in some regards, you actually need to lean in, perhaps, in other ways.
Perhaps. We'll see if it happens.
I mean, go ahead and what's on your mind there? Because obviously
Nothing.
there's
Nothing.
something. Can
I'm
you see
just,
how red my face is?
it is quite red. We got some good sun down in Texas.
We did. I don't think this is all from sun, but
Well, no. Some of it's from the heat in the house, as
hmm
previously discussed.
hmm it's definitely it's the shitty times and moments that reveal, as one of our mentors says, where you're not free.
Right.
In another way to say that is it reveals the areas where you still have work to do, right? And so additionally, during times like this, I become very aware of where my mind shifts during tough situations. And I have to work very hard to control it, to steer it, because I'll burn the motherfucker to the ground. real
Well,
quick.
and I think that's important, right? Because like we're we're all going to go through tough times. Like you can't navigate life without having tough times. But if you don't learn about yourself from those tough times, and let's be honest, there have been times in my life for sure where I've gone through a tough time and haven't learned dick from it, and even though I should have, and I've seen other people go through tough times and not learn anything from those at the same way, right? Like if we're not learning about ourselves from these tough times, then it's that old you're destined to repeat that history.
Right. Life will continue putting the same lesson in front of you until you learn it.
Right.
And it won't look the exact same. It will come in different forms, it will come in different scenarios, but it will be trying to teach you the exact same flipping lesson. So until you learn that lesson, it will continue to pop up. So it's like you can keep bucking the system and just like, you know, trying to passively survive life, or you can be walking through it, working to become better, working to have more self awareness and knowledge and get better and better at navigating it. But, what I find is like in these moments, my brain will default to all the shit that has been wrong, is still wrong, will probably continue to be wrong for a while. Like that's where my brain goes. So,
Right.
this scenario, what is challenging for me is I like it's like what are those freaking chain those chain things you did in elementary school where you take the piece of paper and you make a loop and then you chain what?
I don't chains. I don't.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You'd cut the
Yeah.
strips of paper.
Right. And you tape them into circles and you make a chain. Oh, it's a paper chain. I
Okay,
don't.
just paper chain.
Paper
I don't.
chain. You know what we're talking about? Paper chain.
But when I'm not showing up as my best self or my queen self, as we talk in my community, um, or with my clients, when I'm not showing up as the highest version of me, this is where my brain will go, and I will start linking shit together. So this one isolated incident, right? Air conditioner not working. My brain will default to, oh, the air conditioner's not working. And then it will link up to, oh, hey, like he should have taken care of X 3 months ago. And then, oh, by the way, what are these other things that have created this shithole situation? I mean, that's where my brain will go. Um, and so I have to be hyper aware that that's where it's going. Um, I'm better at that sometimes than other times. Being aware of it, I can at least kind of keep my head about me and be like, okay, you're connecting all of these things that may be true and valid, right? Like that's something else because it may be true and valid that all of these links that I'm putting together, it is one link of thing that just hasn't been addressed that needs to be addressed. And, here we are. At the same time, that is also me piling on the shit and the weight and more strife and frustration to a situation that can then spill out into our interactions, which then spill over into how we interact with our kids. And they're like, what the hell's going on? Like, why are you being like this to us? When, it can spiral really, really quickly. So, having that awareness at least allows you to maybe kind of keep a little leash on yourself. And as I said earlier, it shows me areas that I still need to work on. It also can show you places where not just areas that you need to work on, but, things that, maybe have been put on the back burner that you've allowed to sit and not address, right? Because we like to avoid things as humans. And so then something like this happens and it's like, okay, well, if you hadn't been in avoidance mode all of this time and not wanting to face this little issue or that little argument or whatever, then it also wouldn't be such a mountain.
Right. And I will say, to your credit, you've gotten better at controlling that over the years.
Well, thanks.
You bet. Thank you, quite honestly.
It is the challenge. It is quite the challenge, though, because it does not come natural for me.
I'm aware, but I'm proud of you and your growth.
Thanks.
So, that being said, we got a lot of stuff that we got to square away.
We do.
We got to break up all those little chains, right? And it's one of those things that when my beloved wife gets in this situation, she doesn't like that I come and say, hey, like, here's where we've made progress in these areas. Here's the things that we can do next
Yeah,
that
because
like start.
he's notorious. So this is where you expose like our personality differences, and that's something else you have to become aware of in your marriage, of how you both differ and being able to sometimes like not punch each other in the face. My point is, he likes to come in and be like, look, it's not a dumpster fire. It's not as bad as you're making it out to be. There's this positive thing. There's that positive thing. There's this. So he likes to shine a light. He has the ability and focus to shine a light on all the good stuff.
Just trying to drag her out of the darkness a little.
And I'm kind of like, I don't want to look at the freaking good stuff. I'm looking at this big pile of shit that we have right here. But that's not always productive. So I'm thankful for the balance, even if sometimes in the moment I'm not very
And
thankful.
just to be clear, so you don't go sending an email or calling the police or whatever, we have not yet punched each other in the face.
You said yet.
Yeah, well, you never know what
You
the
never
future
know.
holds. Right. That's all I'm saying. It's
Although,
not going to be today. It might be. It's hot. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it very well.
We may have a hell of a story for next week's podcast.
You just have to come back and
Right.
find out.
Will they make it?
Well, you said, I mean,
Survivor Island,
you've
Heat
also
Edition.
said there's no other option. So if we don't make it, then one of us is in the ground.
Right.
So there's that.
Who knows what the next 7 days will hold?
Who knows? But I'm sure it will be full of rage and shenanigans all wrapped into one.
Listen, if our life wasn't an adventure, what kind of life would it be?
See, this is what he does, right? He pulls out the little one-liners in the middle of the world is imploding, and he's like, "Oh, look at those little flowers over there, and there's a little bird on top."
I'm not afraid to hit him with the Rick Mitchell special. Come on.
That's such a cute little movie.
It is a cute little movie.
What's it called?
And I'm a cute little husband.
What's that movie called?
Mitchell's versus the Machines. It's on the Netflix.
It is a really
It's animated.
good little
It's
movie.
entertaining.
That is not what our vacation looked like.
No, there were no robots.
There weren't any robots, and he didn't pull a Rick Mitchell special in the middle of the highway. But
Not in the middle of the highway.
speaking of which, I did way better this trip with my stress level and
You
driving.
did. You did. I was very proud of you.
Thank you. See, when you go down to Texas, we drove down to Texas, comes a point where there's a shit ton of traffic and there's a lot of like tiny little spaces that he has to drive through, and I don't like it at all.
And a bunch of big a-hole drivers.
That too.
Literally the worst drivers in Texas. And if you live from Texas, come at me. I don't care. You're probably a terrible driver.
So it's usually a little challenging, but
it's an adventure.
I have grown.
You have.
I've learned how to breathe a little bit better. I've added in some additional supplements during that time that helped me.
Well, you did good.
It wasn't too bad. Thanks. So we did have a great vacation. It was great to go to the beach. It was great to have just some chill time. And I think we've shared before, but like our vacations, we are not people who like to go and do all the things. And our kids aren't either. We raise them to not be that way.
Right. Just enjoy the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it was
enjoy presence.
It's really nice, honestly. Like to their credit, like it's really nice because they honestly like when we're not doing anything, like they don't really bitch and moan about that. Like they kind of like not doing anything, and they like keeping things simple. And this time, like it was literally like go to the pool or hang out and watch a movie or go out and fish on the dock and do your own thing and be together and not be together. And I don't know. It's perfect for us. Maybe you're a family that likes to go, 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 and that's okay too.
God bless you.
But for us, that's what we needed. That's what we got.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm already ready to leave again.
Well, of course you are. It's 1,000 degrees in here.
Right.
Who isn't ready to book out?
But as I always say, like I would rather be really flipping hot than super freaking cold. So better than the heater going out in the middle of winter.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, look at me.
Look at you.
Putting the little
Rick Mitchell on it.
the little Justin DeWeese special on top.
Um,
So with that, hopefully you gained a little bit of value there, pulled out a nug for yourself. As we like to share with our clients, like it's not about trying to take in all the things, but like what's one thing that
Right.
you could take away that's going to maybe make your life a little bit better, make you feel a little bit lighter. What can you take out and put into action, not just soak in, but put into action in your life to move yourself just a little bit forward. So with that, thanks for tuning in. See you next week.